Hey guys, Nerris here, this time with the Dwarfhead Blood Bowl League. I just had my second playoff game in the semifinals, and it was amazing. So I'm going to try to get a recording going here from the replay, and we'll be playing it at faster speed. Now again, I did just play this game, so I already know what's going to happen, but I will commentate it as we go as best I can for anybody who has interest. I'm just doing this because I know a couple players in the Dwarfhead have asked to see this game after hearing about what was going on. So, without further ado, it looks like we're going to go straight into the game, or the match here. Now, I was told I can speed this up and play it at super speed. Just 1 second here, we gotta turn down the volume a bit if I'm gonna be on this kind of speed.
Who is sitting right beside me, and who'll be giving us some of his expert insight into the match.
Okay, so I believe that should do it. Now, this is game 3 against the Dwarves. Sorry, I had my first playoff game where I played against the Dark Elves, and I ended up getting some amazing armor breaks, and ultimately I was able to carry that through to victory. Coming into this game, I actually had a bunch of players to level. I was very unsure about how to do it, so thanks to everybody in the league who gave me some input on that one. And what I ended up doing was picking up a whole bunch of extra guard, as well as one player with wrestle. The idea behind this was that because the Dwarves just had so much more block than I did, having a slight guard advantage would hopefully make me a little more reliable. Now, I also had the strength advantage. Unfortunately, not once in the game did I actually keep track of where my guard players were. It is just not something I have experience doing. So I think they made an effect, but I didn't necessarily see where I was placing them all of the time. The other thing I did again was put wrestle on the linemen. My idea being that if the player with the ball ever exposed themselves and I could get the blitz off with the linemen, it was a far more reliable way to get the ball off of him by using wrestle against all these block dwarves. So it looks like the game is going to start off. The Dwarves won the playoff and chose to receive. And then on the kickoff, I actually got a blitz result and moved all my players around, this time actually trying to take advantage of guard. Oh no, sorry, this is perfect defense. This is not the blitz result. And so I'm just quickly moving a couple players around, trying to make his blocks a little bit harder by repositioning all of my guard players. Now, foolishly, I forgot that he also had guard. And so my repositioning actually ended up doing absolutely nothing. It was just not a good setup. But you'll see him beat the crap out of me here in just a second, and we'll speed this up a little faster. Because nobody wants to watch this game forever. So you're going to see here, on turn 1, he is just going to shred through my front lines using blocks, guards. Unfortunately, I did turn on the option to choose whether or not to wrestle. Which was a little silly of me, but the player doesn't have blocks, so I'm almost always going to choose wrestle anyway, so it did not matter in this case. And you'll see right off the bat, he has got so many of my players down. He is just straight up pushing me around the field. And unfortunately, this is a theme throughout the entire game. I always have trouble keeping players up. He tends to have the block advantage through the entire game. He's always got more people standing. I have more people down. He's got more blocks. Maybe because I was concerned about marking players very often. So we'll just speed things up here a bit because not much interesting is happening. He's just taking a bunch of his initial blocks, smacking me on my butt. And of course, caging up the ball somewhere protected. Now, for the first time in my entire career playing Orcs, my troll actually contributed to the team. I generally have him roll 3 or 4 ones on his really stupid all game, and he's just never done anything for me. He was just Mr. Reliable this game, so you'll see him actually contributing. But you'll see here, just because of how many people I had down, I just did not have blocks to throw. And as an orc, typically what I play for is to try to get as many enemy players down at the start of the turn, so that he has less blocks to throw at me and I have the initiative there. But I could just not get it back for the life of me this entire game. Now you'll notice, almost the entire game, I'm using my Mighty Blow Blitzers to try to smack his Troll Slayers. One of them is actually Strength. This guy in the back is Armor 7, but I couldn't reach him. And again, here I am just tying up players, trying to make it more difficult for him to move down the field. But you will see, his blocks just across the board are completely fantastic. He's just smacking me around. So again, we're going to play this at super speed because I don't know a lot of things I can say about him during his turn and what he's thinking. These voices are really funny. I don't know if you can hear them on the stream. Okay, so again, he's managed to push me around a bit. He decided not to move the ball up yet. He's just kind of shifting his focus, it looks, to the left side of the pitch. Even though on the right side, he's really got the spearhead about ready to burst through. So you'll see I've moved a couple players over to the right, just kind of act as a safety in case he goes around that side. While I'm going to try to beat him up on the right side of the field. Talking from the perspective of the stream, not the perspective of my team, because I'm facing the wrong side here. Now, one thing I did get lucky about, all his players have block, and I almost never had that be a problem. Despite the fact that none of my Black Orcs have block, I'm just generally not reliable with how my players are lined up here. I just often was able to get at least a push. I very rarely ended up turning over and getting myself knocked down. So you see here again, I threw my blocks, and I've pushed people around, but nobody's down. And he has so many blocks that he can throw at me this turn, especially with all the guard that he has. And this was the coolest maneuver ever that I've seen. Because I had so many players here, he hit me, got a push, chain pushed it, and got his runner out of the tackle zone of my blitzer, which I thought was the coolest play. I actually told him about that when I saw it. And just like I was worried about, that right side of the field was so open that I tried to move players over there, make it a little more difficult for him. Now this is a turn where I was actually really happy with how the board looked. I think pretty specifically because nobody was knocked down. Like a couple players, but I actually for the first time had a really strong chance to retaliate and throw some blocks at him. So I was actually very excited about the board position here. So I'm standing up a player here. I'm moving the troll again because just as a post, he's a strength 5, difficult to move tackle zone, and it's going to make him harder to do things on that side of the field. And I'm really trying to just get players over there, make things a little more difficult for him. Now this lineman over here, is he the one with wrestle? No, it's not. My lineman with wrestle is over here on the far side, where he's useless. You notice I've dropped this Black Orc back. I really want him on the front lines throwing blocks, but I'm really afraid of him blitzing through and getting into my backfield and me having nobody there. And the Black Orc was actually the only player I had available to move there. And by not going too far back, I also have the choice next turn to move him up and into the action somewhere. So here I am smacking the runner, and what did I get? It was pushed or attacker down, so of course I've just pushed him back. But I feel like I've managed to stall his momentum by pushing through here. There's a lot of orcs and a troll in the way. And you'll see with the blocks I'm throwing, I've actually finally taken the momentum. I have orcs standing and he has players down that just need to stand this turn. So I was actually extremely happy with how I finally managed to steal the block momentum, because he ended up with a bunch of pushes and I managed to get a whole bunch of block downs. I mean, it's purely dice. It's nothing I did or maneuvered for. I'm actually noticing this now. I've got a really cool orc wall here that's actually cutting off a huge chunk of his players from reaching the play. And then in this amazing shift, he actually, I don't expect this kind of speed from Dwarves, shifted the whole play around, and everyone I have is engaged and on the wrong half of the field. Now you're about to see the play of the game here. I think, and I'll wait till it happens before I spoil this. I actually kind of like being able to commentate this at a quicker speed.
The referees guild has decided to hire a bodyguard.
So you're going to see here, I have a lot of blocks that I'm very happy about taking right here. Oh, so I did knock the ball down. Oh, this is actually, I actually managed to use that lineman that I took wrestle. And if you've noticed, I just hit the end turn button by mistake. I was so set up with the block advantage. I could throw blocks everywhere here, get some people down. I would have some serious board control if I could have thrown these blocks, and then I could have followed up right behind the ball here and been in a great position. But I accidentally hit the end turn button. And I think this is why I end up in the situation I do throughout the rest of the game. I had been fighting really hard to try to get the block advantage, and all of a sudden, when I had all these beautiful blocks to throw, I hit end turn, and instead he got to throw all these blocks because we're all on base to base, and it also lets him make a play on the ball over on the right. So we'll speed this up again and just see, because he's just beating the crap out of me for a couple turns. You'll see now, everyone I have on the right side of the field is just down because I ended the turn and he beat the crap out of everyone. So everything I have left is tied up over here on the left side of the field. I forget how I try to get back in this. I'm pretty sure I moved my black orc in just to get something between him and the end zone. And I'm trying to get as many players over to this part of the pitch to contest his ability to score. My hope being that if I can hold him, I'll be able to take advantage. Now you'll notice I didn't follow up with this black orc. I could have, but in this case I actually want him to, I want to force him to use a blitz if he's going to try to break through that line of 2 players. And again, I'm just getting as many people into the action as I can. And in the rest of the field, I'm actually throwing a bunch of crappy blocks. Like, I've completely lost all initiative in the center part of the field here. I'm just going to get knocked down and stand up pretty much for the rest of the game, unless I get lucky dice here. But I'm hoping that with the players I had here, I would have the advantage. Unfortunately, because he's blocked so well, he's able to move all these players from the center into the action and actually prevent my ability to contest this as well as I would like to. And there he goes, running straight through the little gap that I gave him. Actually, did he dodge roll there? He might have had to dodge from here to there to get through. Had he failed that, I would be in a very good position. So here I am trying to figure out how I can actually get to the ball. I feel like over here there's nothing I can do but try to throw some blocks. I think ultimately I decided my best chance was to actually... I was going to blitz with the blitzer, but I figured the wrestle lineman has the best chance of making him actually drop the ball. So I ended up blitzing with him. Because if the ball's on the ground, he's got to try to pick it up somehow, and hopefully he's down on rerolls. It's also the first time in the game my troll has failed his really stupid roll, and actually I don't think it mattered that much here. Had he passed it, I would have just been moving him into the action to make it harder for him to throw blocks. But as it stands, his tackle zones aren't really an inhibiting factor. Now, I'm pretty sure at this point the Dwarves are figuring out just how they're going to break this apart and get the runner downfield. Essentially, they just want to get an assist over here so that the runner can blitz and go for it. Oh, he actually did a dodge roll with the blitzer around the back to hit the lineman. And there you go. So he's up 1-0 at the end of the half, and I have very few turns left. And I feel like a lot of that was the fact that I accidentally hit the end turn. Now, I'm not saying that he wouldn't have scored. I actually have, I feel like my opponent was a very good player. He made some excellent plays throughout the entire match. But I feel like I would have been in a much stronger position had that not happened. But I'm still up. I've got all my players. I actually have 2 men on the sideline, so I do have a bit of leeway in case people go down. And I do get to receive. Now at this point I have 2 turns left, and I really don't think there's much chance that I'll be able to score. So what I've actually done is put on my troll and my goblin to try for the 1-turn touchdown. Now I have never done this before. I know that it exists, but I actually don't know the rules very well. So you'll see that I kind of, I don't know. I just set up the goblin beside the troll because I know they have to be beside each other when the troll throws the ball. And I'm trying to somehow get the ball to this goblin just so that I can try to make something happen. And then everyone else is... oh no, I'm still positioning here. Oh yeah, I have 3 people in the back because I want to be sure that somebody picks up the ball. And then I can hand it off. Now you notice we just got to get the ref result, so you're actually going to see some fouls. And, Lord of all lords, the kickoff actually landed on my goblin, which has set me up for the throw. I am so excited about this. You'll see me moving the Black Orc forward to tie these people up. I'm trying to refute the number of people that can go chase my goblin. My goal is to move the Black Orc up here, and then blitz my Mighty Blow guy into the Troll Slayer. The Armor 7 Troll Slayer, hopefully to get some kind of player advantage. So he's moving up. He has guard, so I don't mind engaging both players. Now, I'm throwing my Mighty Blows. I have a guard player in the middle, so everyone's 2 dice. Again, I want to keep that block advantage before I try rolling anything else. And because I don't know the rules, I was trying to figure out whether or not I could actually move my troll up into this field to get some extra distance. After executing this, I very clearly realized that I could not. But I did manage to push this whole line forward. Now I wanted to move my troll up and throw it, and I realized, that actually doesn't work. Had I put the goblin 1 space forward, then I could have actually pushed the front line, stepped the troll up 1, and had a little extra room. I wanted to be sure... Now I have 2 turns left, so I wasn't sure when to throw, and I wanted to be sure I got that blitzing on the Troll Slayer, just in case I could get him down with my Mighty Blow. So here comes the throw attempt, as I'm trying to figure out just how it executes. And if I could get this 1 here and start with the ball next turn, this is pretty much me being very confident about my ability to take this game. But I actually bought the Goblin just so, if this situation presented itself, I could try it. Because for 40,000 gold, it just makes sense to open this up. It's taken me a while to figure this out. So picking him up, throw him. I tried to throw him here. He scattered all the way back, and I had to re-roll just to stand him up. Then I ran out of time, so I didn't get a chance to run him. I was considering running him to here. I was actually counting the squares to get him to here, and I ran out of time. Even so, if I had ran the ball to here, I would be afraid of him just dying. But it might have given me the chance to make a touchdown run the next turn. Alright, so here's where the blocks start to go in my opponent's favor. He just KO'd one of my guard blitzers with Mighty Blow, which means he's taking away a bit of my speed advantage. My Mighty Blow is going down, and I'm short guard, so he's tied up guard. We both have 3 of them now. And he's managed to smack the ball away from me. At this point, I've realized that I don't have anybody that can hit the end zone. But I do, in fact, have a bribe from that get the ref rule. So I'm just looking at how maybe I can try to get an advantage for the next turn somehow. Or for the next half, when this comes around. So we'll speed this up, because this isn't really important. So he's going to run around and smack me a bunch. I'm going to smack some players. I'm going to move a whole bunch of assists next to this Troll Slayer, and then I'm going to use my Goblin to foul him, because Goblins are cheap and they suck. And you will see that I got a KO result. He actually used an Apothecary, re-rolled it to a badly hurt, and managed to keep the Troll Slayer in the game without having to use a KO. Now I will note, my opponent did have extra Apothecary he bought with Treasury Cash. And so, he was a little free to actually use the Apoth there to keep the player advantage that he wanted. So, we're starting up for the next half. I am extremely determined not to hit the end turn button by accident again, because at this point I was feeling the pain from that a bit. I need to somehow get through this dwarf team and score in these turns, or this game is over. Now, I'm hoping... By the way, I'm deploying, I think. I'm putting my Mighty Blow guys on the front with the Troll. Or at least I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I have both of my Guard Orcs up there. My hope being that I put a Mighty Blow Blitz on each of these sides, hit a blocker each, and then I can reposition my Guard guys if I need to. And even if I don't, it gives me a very strong center board. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to put both of... Or I put one of my Mighty Blows up here, and I think I switched the other one in. Again, because I'm just... Oh no, I didn't. That was a mistake. So, the ball's not in a horrible position. I really want to take my blocks up here before risking the pickup, because these are all 2 dice blocks. I have block, he has block, I have Mighty Blow. The odds of double skulls are 1 in 36, which is the only thing I'm really worried about. So I'm fairly comfortable taking the 2 blocks with my Mighty Blow players, and I actually managed to stun a player, so that's got me pretty happy. Before I roll with the troll who does not have block, I'm going to leave him there, and I'm going to go pick up the ball, and I think just move it up the middle, because until some blocks are thrown right now, I don't know which half of the board I want to commit myself to. So best to keep my opponent guessing, I'm hoping, while making sure he doesn't have information. Now this is me again doing the same thing. I'm moving a Black Orc up, and then I'm going to try to blitz the Troll Slayer. Now unfortunately he switched the side. I thought this was the Armor 7 one, and it ended up being the Armor 8 Troll Slayer. I don't know if that makes a difference, but that's why I didn't have a Mighty Blow guy on the front. I wanted one on the side to hit the Troll Slayer, this guy over here. Because if I can get any kind of player advantage on this half, it's going to make it much, much easier to get this ball up the field. So we'll speed this up again because there's not much happening. I think I'm just going to reposition a couple players, make sure I've got the ball covered, put some tackle zones in the way, and then finally take my hit with the troll. And he is not getting through armor at all. He actually rolled a 3 on that armor break, which is terrible. But that's alright. Dwarves are high armor. I'm not counting on the breaks, but I'm intentionally hitting with my Mighty Blow players when I can, because you might as well take the best odds you've got to get a player advantage. Now this was a mistake here. You'll notice throughout this entire game, I keep marking players and then having them take horrible dice rolls when he hits me back. I don't know if that was correct or not. I'm certainly counting on my high armor to make this work. Oh, by way of explanation, if you hear this constant chirping in the background, I do have a pet bird and it's sitting here with me, so you may be hearing that a lot on stream. Yeah, there she is. Next time I'll lock her up, but I forgot while we did this. I actually jumped in the replay as soon as the game ended, and I was worried about the replay leaving the option of game, or the list of games to view. So, I've decided at this point to move the ball over to the right side, partly because I have 2 players down over here. The weaker Troll Slayer, the one with armor 7, is on this half of the pitch. And I'm actually pretty confident about my ability to get guard players in interesting positions here. Now you notice I haven't bothered boxing the back of my cage. I think that's because the Troll Slayer would have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go for it, to hit my guy without a dodge. I'm also hoping to get the lineman up here to make that less likely. It was a bit of a risk. I did leave the thrower open here. I was also very afraid of the blockers here somehow breaking through and coming at me from this side. But against Dwarves, I want as many people up there with guard, throwing blocks, keeping that block momentum on my side. And people sitting back in this cage aren't helping me with that. I'm just very afraid that if I fall behind on that, like I did the first half, it's going to really play against me. I think, unfortunately, this isn't the lineman I want. Yeah, the lineman with Wrestle is actually on the cage corner. But he's better than the lineman with nothing, so we've got him there. Now, you'll see, theme of the game. He gets his turn, and he just beats me around. I'm not used to playing against somebody who hits as hard as I do all game. And, I start to question my tactics and how I'm deploying my players just because they're hitting me all the time. I'm going to speed this up a bit. Like you're going to see again, I've got 1 player down, but also I have nobody around to throw blocks. Okay, we've got a KO here, so he's just taken out another Mighty Blow Blitzer. Now this one doesn't have guard and tackle is useless against him, but I'm down 2 Blitzers. So my speed 6 is going down. Both Mighty Blow players are out, and I'm now short. I'm 1 player less on the pitch now, so it's 11 on 10. So what I'm praying here, and this is where I really got afraid that this central block was going to make it through to my thrower somehow. But what I'm really trying to do is just somehow get the block advantage back. in a bashy game, this is something that I do a lot of. I'm also very concerned about my troll because for the first time I have nobody beside him to assist him with his really stupid roll. And I'm trying to decide whether or not I'm going to blitz into here just so that the troll can also hit something and move up. And I think I decide... Oh no, I'm actually going over here because I still want to push up this side of the field if I can. Unfortunately, I think that push was kind of the death knell of that strategy.
The Troll Slayers. You know that their first appearance dates back to 2465 in a match between...
Because I'm really worried. He's got 1, 2, 3 blocks that he can throw at me. That are all good dice. He's got another block here he can throw at me, which is really good dice. I'm just not happy with my ability to defend this because he's got too many blocks that he can roll at me. So I actually bring my thrower way back because I'm afraid that it's way too easy for him to just get at the ball. And then throwing the Black Orc back here was a last-minute decision to make it harder for him to get to me. I was actually really afraid of this play. Because, like I said, I'm on a clock. I need to score this turn. So with Orcs, I'm always hesitant to back up. But he's straight up going to knock everybody on their butt this turn. Or at least that's what I expect. And if I had left my thrower here, that guy would have been able to blitz him. I was just afraid that he had his opportunity to blitz my thrower was much too high where I had him. So I ended up backing up there. Oh, there's so many guards in here.
Ouch! Have a nice sleep. Little baby gets his medicine and he's having a little nap.
At this point, I'm looking at all of these dwarves over here and realizing that there's only 2 on this half of the field. And because I've backed up, I'm actually very mobile. I can switch sides really easily. And as soon as he did this, yes, he knocked down my player, but there's an open spot right here that I could try to get through. Now he's covering it, because he realizes there's a gap there. But I'm pretty sure that I can get over there. So I move a Black Orc over there to contest and give an assist to the Troll. The Troll managed to stand up, and I'm just trying to get tackle zones in this area to keep these players tied up, because I really want to shift to the left side of the field. So here I am with the thrower, managed to make the handoff to the blitzer. The blitzer I want to get up through here, because he's speed 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, somewhere around this area. I'm trying to decide if I can throw this block with my Black Orc. It's a 2-dice block. And but what I decided was sit behind the Black Orc. Oh, now you'll see here, I got the blitzer and I got a dead result. He apothed it to a badly hurt. And so the player's now on the sideline. But I managed to knock out a player too. So it's now 10 on 10 on the field. I know this Troll Slayer's right here and he can hit my blitzer, and that scares the crap out of me. But I don't want to stand up my Black Orc and get him surfed. So I'm really hoping that this Black Orc, having guard on himself, will help protect my blitzer where I'm positioned. And now I'm just bashing my way in here to get as many of these people in tackle zones as I can. So let's just see how the Dwarves followed this one up. Now for those of you who are following this as a really boring game, I promise you this gets really exciting and close towards the end. It's probably the closest game I've ever played. And once we get to that point, I'm actually going to slow down the turns a bit so you guys can really see what's going on. You know what, I'll probably play it at this speed. This is fine. And again, like I said, I had all these players standing. They're in tackle zones. I'm going to have them just hit the crap out of me. Now he's bringing in these players to make, I don't know, I guess to give himself a good hit on the blitzer, but the fact that this guy has guard means I'm much safer if he hits from either of these zones. But I'm pretty confident still that this Troll Slayer is going to come and try to hit me from the back. And there it goes. And he's put enough dwarves in here that he can try to pick up the ball. And both of them failed. So, while I do not have the ball, and against dwarves, if they pick it up, it's so hard for me to get it off them, I'm very concerned. But I'm also very happy that this Black Orc can try to get in the business. I think I actually go for it. I think I go 3, 4 to stand up, go for it, to get his tackle zone on the ball, because I have 4 rerolls still. I ended up not needing one. I'm very happy to have 2 tackle zones on this ball. because my biggest concern is him picking up the ball. My second concern is somehow getting the ball. I've got 4 turns, including this one, to get the touchdown, or the game is over. So, I'm going to stand up and blitz this guy with the assist from the guard Black Orc. Because, again, I'm trying to open up this ball somehow. And I ended up hitting it over there, which I love. It's out of his tackle zones. I am also very afraid because I only have 1 tackle zone on the ball here, and I don't know how to cover that. I'm concerned about the runner dodging out and picking it up because he could get there. I'm considering... Now this troll's tying up 3 players. I love it. I'm not going to throw a block with him at all because if he goes stupid, he loses his tackle zones. As he is, he makes it a lot harder for the player to play around. This is 3 orcs. Oh, 4 orcs tying up like... Oh no, wow, I have way too many orcs tied up on this side of the field. I need to get them out of there somehow. And I'm debating whether or not dodging out with my thrower to get here is worth it. I did go for it because, again, the player has dodge. So it's alright. And I do have a reroll for the go for it if I want it. Now, had I failed there, all of a sudden this runner could have walked over and just picked up the ball. And I'm really hoping that the tackle zone on the ball will make that a hard play for him if he does decide to go for it. And then I'm just coming up in this corner. I'm going to throw whatever blocks I have because, again, the more of his players that start the turn down, the better my momentum in the block war. So sorry, that was an interesting play, the whole crossing the side, trying to figure out what to do with the ball here. I wanted to slow it down a bit, but we'll speed it up here again for you guys. So he is standing up all of his players that he can. He is probably going to throw a bunch of blocks in here just to beat the crap out of me. And also, he's trying to get a 3-die block on my troll if he can. I don't think he managed to open it up. And so here he goes with the blitz. This is the blitz that I was afraid of, and he got a push result. Now, I wasn't as worried about it because I have a block dodge. He has to get a down result to get my thrower. And so now... Oh, that was huge. He actually hit me with this runner. I forget what the roll was. I think he double skulled it. No, it was a single skull. But he did knock himself down, and all of a sudden I have a player advantage in this corner of the field. Taking this block with the Black Orc will free up my thrower. And the thrower can move up the field. Now, the thrower is only speed 5, so he's faster than the other player's blockers, but the runners outpace me and the troll slayers are the same speed. So I'm definitely worried about how many players can come get my thrower when I throw him up the field. But then I look at the clock, realize I've got 3 turns left to hit the end zone, and that I need to move. If I stand around over here, there's no way I can ever reach the end zone. So I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to throw my thrower up here. Give him a Black Orc for some cover, as well as to keep a tackle zone on this runner to make it harder for him to do things. And I'm just going to try to get him up the field. Now I know that I can outrun most of the dwarves, and I'm really going to try to keep the runners, these 2 runners and the troll slayer, on their butt because they're the only things that can actually catch up to my thrower. And then again, I'm going to get as many tackle zones in here as I can. I'm throwing this block because I want to knock down anybody that can try to dodge out and get in the way. So now the dwarves are in a bit of a rough spot. I've got the ball, I've got a good position. He's going to have to somehow orchestrate a really cool blitz on my thrower, or at least get tackle zones over there, because if I drop the ball at this point with 2 turns left, the odds of me scoring a touchdown are very low. And I need to get a touchdown in if I'm going to hit overtime. So we'll speed this up again just to see what he's doing. I believe he's just going to stand up some players. He's trying to decide what to do with all these players who are knocked down. He's going to stand. He's going to... I was actually very surprised by that blitz choice. But by blitzing into this player twice, he managed to follow up and get a 2-dice block on my troll, which is just gorgeously orchestrated. Because now all of a sudden he has 2 blockers free that can get in my business, and that was amazing. I would never have seen that as a player, which makes me sad because that was such a clean play. But failing that go for it, and he's out of rerolls at this point, is a big problem for him. And I'm trying to figure out how I get through this blocker. I'm debating whether I just dodge and run around, because I do have dodge and I'm speed 5. I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but then I have to worry about a blitz coming back. The other option is I could blitz this player with a 1-die block, If I can get a push, then I'm okay. If I get him down, there's no way for him to contest. Now, unfortunately, I rolled a both down here. And I could re-roll, but if I get myself down, I'm in a lot of trouble. So, oh, I did re-roll. I got the Defender Stumbles to move myself one space. I can keep moving up, 3, 4, 5. These guys are both speed 4. They can go 4, 3 to stand, speed 4, go for it to put me in a tackle zone. So I decided to take a single go for it. And now there's no way for him to get any tackle zones on my thrower. So at this point, I've that go for it secured my touchdown. He has no way to get anybody close enough to contest at this point. He realizes it, and he's going to pull some players back and smack me up a bit. And I do believe I have 2 players KO'd right now. And he's going to try to smack me around. We'll see just what he gets here. Now, I already used my foul on my Goblin in the first half. He still has a foul available. And I'm kind of expecting him to try to foul me at some point in here, especially right before the kickoff. Because worst case scenario, he could still get a player back. And you'll see this Black Orc here is over. He is surrounded. My Troll's vulnerable. I'm worried about him fouling there. So I ended up taking a kick on my Black Orc with a +1 assist there. He did not roll doubles, so he did not have to use his bribe here. They stunned the Black Orc, but it's mostly irrelevant for the course of the game. And I believe he's dodging some players out, just hoping that maybe I'll roll some dice. I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, oh, there's some blocks here I really want to throw. But if for any reason I don't score this turn, the game is over and I'm out of the playoffs. So I'm pretty sure I just run it in here. And I do. So we are now tied. The Dwarves have a single turn left. And after that, we go into overtime. Now, for those who are unfamiliar with how overtime works, if at the end of the game the score is tied, the turn limit goes up to 20. So we each get 4 more turns. It is not sudden death, but if anybody's winning once that turn count is over, then that's the end of the game. And given that it's only 4 turns, it's very close to being sudden death. It's difficult to come back in 3 turns as a bashy team for us. And I'm concerned because I am kicking to him. He gets to receive this turn. Now, here is the glory. I roll the blitz result. Now, you'll notice I actually have 3 players that are KO'd right now. So I'm starting with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players on the field. And one of them, unfortunately, has to be my Goblin at this point. So, I've moved a guard player up. I'm trying to deconstruct his ability to smack the crap out of me over here. Which is why I ended up blitzing with the Black Orc instead of hitting someone back here. Because this blitz hits his Troll Slayer, and I can actually move my Black Orc into here with guard to make it a lot harder for him to just beat through my front lines. At least that's my intention with this blitz move. Then I'm moving the Goblin here because I'm worried about the tackle zones in this whole area. I want to get some tackle zones in there. And I'm pretty sure there's no way for him to reach my Goblin where he's standing. So I'm just trying to restrict his options. That's also because I know the ball's going to this half of the field. I have actually slowed the timer down here because once we hit overtime, things get really exciting. One of the reasons for this is the fact that we did not get our rerolls back because they don't. You're playing with your second half rerolls in overtime. So he's come into this with 0 rerolls, and I still have 2 left. Not that I was being specifically conservative with them, I just didn't need them. I was in positions where I was happy with my rolls for most of the game. I could have tossed them at silly rolls that really didn't matter, but if it wasn't directly affecting my play of the ball at the field, I was actually keeping them in reserve. So I have a 2 reroll advantage here, and to me that is huge. You'll definitely see me play into this as best I can. But you'll see immediately, just like every other time, when he receives the ball, he has a block advantage. He has more people standing than I do to throw blocks. He's also 1 player up again because I have 3 KOs and nobody stood up after my touchdown. I was really hoping there would actually be another kickoff here. so that I could try to stand people up, but there is not. So I'm going to be down these 3 players pretty much for the rest of the game. So you'll see me, I'm going to get my trolls in here. I'm trying to get my guard players standing up and in business. And I'm trying to decide just what to do. Now, I really want to blitz something over here, because he's got 3 players to my 2. I'm afraid the ball's going to come this way. So I've moved my Goblin up for an assist, because now I get a 2 dice roll with my Black Orc. The reason I did it in this order is I want my Mighty Bow player to be hitting the Armor 7 Troll Slayer if I have any choice of the matter. And so I think I come up and blitz this way. What is this? Oh, right. I threw 1 die block on this blocker because now I have a 2 dice block with Mighty Blow on the Troll Slayer. And I do knock him down, but no dice on the armor roll. But I have managed to move up, and I did go for it. So I generally am very hesitant to throw players behind the enemy line like that, especially when I'm already fewer players on the pitch than my opponent. Which is why I throw this blitzer in the backfield. I want a safety in case he beats his way through somehow. But this is going to force him to come back and either blitz me or try to get the runner out, and this is in fact what he does. Now this is the point where I realized that putting this player back here, it ate a blitz, but now he's going to be pretty useless. I'm not really sure how I'm going to make use of him for the rest of the game. Maybe he'll try up the Troll Slayer. So that is the danger, I think, of throwing a person way the back there. I think we're at double speed right now, and I'll leave it here just because it's slow enough that you can see the decisions people are making, but fast enough that you're not sitting here forever. So you'll see here, he has got me down again. He is just locking up this block advantage. He's got more people standing in tackle zones that can throw blocks. My Goblin sure as heck isn't throwing a block at strength 2. So I have 2 blocks in this whole area. And I've got a lot of players just tied up over here that can't get into the play. This is a huge concern for me. If he scores in his next, he's got 18, 19, 20. So he's got 3 turns to get a goal in. If he does it in there, then I do not have a chance to retaliate. Like I said, this overtime scares the crap out of me. So I think what I've decided to do here is, again, maybe pull the Splitzer back. I think I may commit him to the action. I'm undecided here. But I'm just trying to get tackle zones on the ball. And this player doesn't have guard, but I do have a 1 die blitz on the runner here as an option. And given that I've actually managed to get in base with the runner, I do decide to commit my blitzer in here to try to get some assists. Unfortunately, all I got was a push there. And I've pretty much rolled everything here. So I'm going to roll the dice that I have now that are left. And my big fear is that he's got 3 players here. 4 that can hit these 2 and blitz to the backfield, and he can pass it. So I'm really concerned about something happening there. That said, before while I had the block advantage, it was a very block disadvantage was a very bad thing because he was throwing a lot of block dice. At this point, he has no rerolls left, and I do have 1. So I'm actually kind of alright with him throwing blocks, because turnovers are going to be absolutely massive game changers at this point in the game. So here he is. He is once again just going to town, beating the crap out of me. These Troll Slayers are reliably just smacking my Black Orcs around. I got down result on my block dodge thrower, which I was a little unhappy about. But something just happened there. His Troll Slayer was hitting my blitzer, and he sculled it, because it was even dice after the frenzy. So the first one was a push, and then he sculled it. Knocked himself down, and I got that turnover I was really hoping I would get. So now I'm trying to figure out how to take advantage of this, because again, he's got way more players in this area than I do. But if I can knock people down, I think this is what I decided to do, I can get the block advantage back. I dodge out. Wow. Oh, I dodge out because I'm looking to actually blitz the runner, and I wanted a 2-die block. That's a choice. Hitting the guy with the ball I think my concern here was I have very few opportunities to try to get the ball off of them. It's hard to get the ball off of Dwarves. So when I had that opening, I decided to go for it and risk the reroll. Had I been smart, I would not have followed up, and then I could have gone here and here to get a second tackle zone on the ball. Unfortunately, I did follow up, so I'm stuck here. That was a just bad decision. And I actually rolled stupid on my troll for the first time, and that has got me worried. Where did I reroll? Oh, I used the reroll to dodge my thrower out. So we're both on 0 rerolls now. This is an even game at this point. And I tried to dodge my goblin out because why let him just get hit? And if I could dodge him out, I could actually move him up into the action here and just make it that much harder for the player to do things around the ball. Unfortunately, I failed the dodge. I don't know if that's a huge deal because he wasn't doing much anyway before he fell over. And at this point, the dwarf player has 1 turn left to score before overtime increases by another 4 turns. So I'm fairly confident that I don't have to worry about losing immediately. I'm trying to find a way to somehow get the ball out. I'm even considering picking it up and throwing it down to this end of the field because I'm faster than him. If I can get one player free, I can probably race him to that side of the field. I think ultimately there were just too many tackle zones. I decided it wasn't worth it. I was afraid of fumbling the ball. Without rerolls, I'm afraid to make some really risky plays. What I decide to do throughout this whole half is to play very conservatively, to make very safe plays wherever I can, and hope that he turns over more than I do. Not necessarily the best decision because he is playing Dwarves. They're extremely reliable. They all have block and tackle and everything else. But I'm hoping that somehow I can be more consistent. I do have more Mighty Blow on the field and try to get a player advantage. Despite the fact that I'm currently down 1 player, I have 10 on the pitch. He has a full 11. In retrospect, I thought he had a much larger player advantage than he did. In my mind, I thought I was down like 3 or 4 players. That may just be because my players were always on their butts. Alright, so we'll speed this up a bit. Sorry, nothing much is happening at the moment. He's just trying to decide where to deliver this. So he's going to blitz my blitzer, actually, instead of the thrower. And that was a big problem for him. He again rolled a skull on the shot, which means I can try to make a play on this ball. If I can open up the thrower, I'm hoping I don't have to dodge into a tackle zone from a tackle zone. I'm afraid I think I actually went for it, forgetting that there was a tackle zone on the ball. I definitely want to get my Orcs standing up first because they're going to tie up players at the very least. My Blitzer can get a pretty good hit over here. My Goblin can come up here and put tackle zones on the ball. I mean, he's probably going to die, but I don't care. He's 40k. I just want to get tackle zones in this area because whoever picks up the ball first here is going to be at a huge advantage. So I think I actually... Oh, no! So I move him up for an assist to get this Blitzer in the action. Trying to get the block advantage again. If his players are down and mine are not, I can throw more blocks on my turn and I will pull ahead. Getting the stun there is actually really nice for me. It means that I'm going to be up a player for the next few turns here. So I'm going to blitz the runner. I chose a defender stumble, so I did knock him down. And this frees me up with the thrower to actually pick up the ball. And I'm trying to debate whether or not I'm going to run him up the field. Now, my player does have dodge. If he falls over here, it's not the worst because it's hard for the Dwarven player to move down the field. But if I do manage to get him up the field, it's going to be hard for any of his players to catch up to me. The runner will be able to do it. And all of a sudden, uh-oh. I threw a block on the Troll Slayer. I got knocked down, I got KO'd, and he suddenly has a Troll Slayer and a runner that can go after my thrower. I am very worried. Not only that, 3 of my blitzers, who are my high-speed guys, Mighty Blow Guard, Mighty Blow Guard, Mighty Blow Tackle, are off the pitch. So he's now got 11 players versus 9 on the field, and there is no way to get players back because we're in overtime. At least not until somebody scores, and if somebody scores, it's going to be very difficult to come back. So I'm down 2 players on the pitch at this point, and I'm starting to get really concerned. And I did not even think of this. I thought the Troll Slayer was covered where I had my player. Unfortunately, I'm going to get surfed by this Frenzy Troll Slayer. Now, I do believe it's just stunned, so he's ready to come back on the field here. But now it's now 11-8 on the pitch. Now, fortunately, the throw put this ball somewhere really strange. So it's going to be difficult for him to play, because everybody here is actually tied up. It's going to be hard for him to get down there, I'm hoping. I actually have a Goblin who's not in any tackle zones, and he could run all the way back here. But you'll see, he started with the ball, moved up, I managed to get it off, get a thrower up the field, so I was feeling very confident. And all of a sudden, that dodge has got him in a really nice looking position. He's getting players into this area, and I'm afraid that at this point he's actually going to take the win. Now that said, this is turn 20. So at the end of this turn, the turn limit's going to go up to 24. We had 4 turns each because nobody's won and we're still in overtime. So even if he does score, I do have a chance to try to catch up. And we'll speed it up again here. I think he's just throwing some blocks around in this area, trying to get a player advantage. And so here he is. He's hitting my Black Orc over here. He's pushed him, didn't follow up, and he actually dodged this player out as well. And suddenly he's got some real coverage on the ball here. I'm worried about it, because he can now score. So my troll didn't stupid. I managed to get a tackle zone on one of the players down here. This guy is open, so I've managed to get tackle zones on both players. My goal is I want to force a blitz or a dodge roll if he's going to try to get to the ball. My Black Orcs, I'm trying to, again, just shift my play to the left side of the field as much as I can, because these Dwarves are all over on the right, and they are way out of the play. This Black Orc and this Blitzer can now tie up 4 Dwarves, hopefully for a couple turns. And my Goblin is going to go for it, and pick up the ball. Oh, you lovely little guy. This means that the Blitzer can't simply dodge out. 1, 2, 3, pick up. 4, 5, go for it, and score. So I've forced him to blitz my Goblin if he wants to pick up the ball. I'm just trying to make it safer because he could have scored there with the right dice. So of course he's going to smack these 2 players around a lot. But I'm just hoping I can keep a bunch of them tied up with only 2 players committed. Because, as we've said, I only have 8 players on the pitch left at this point, and he is way ahead for... he's got a 3-player advantage. I need to tie them up as efficiently as possible. Wow, that is sad. Poor Orcs. Who's breaking armor against Orcs? I hate it. Ah! And here is the massive shift in momentum. Trying to dodge this player out so that he can get an assist and hit my Goblin was going to allow me to move my Goblin up the field. Now, I don't think this is a particularly safe position. There's Dwarves everywhere. But I also have players marking most of them. And it also moves the ball out of touchdown range, and that's the biggest deal for me. I think I also refrained from putting him too close to the sideline because I'm afraid of getting surfed again. But I'm definitely... Oh no, I do put him there. And I'm definitely moving my Goblin as the first play of the game. It's the most important thing I can do. I think I'm trying to decide what to do with my Troll here as well. I want to move him up here 1, 2, 3. To put tackle zones everywhere. I would have been much smarter putting him here. I would have put tackle zones all around this area. This Black Orc could still tie both those players. But I believe my Troll was trying to block both these players. My big problem now is that the Troll can be really stupid, because there's no one there to assist him. And intelligently, I probably should have moved my lineman to here, which would let me continue playing with my Troll and still gets the tackle zones where I need them. Ooh, and I turned over on the blocks I was trying to roll, so all of a sudden, all of these Dwarves here are free to do what they want. I was afraid to throw both of these blocks for a while. I think I just sit there. I have 2 dice blocks, so they are my favor. But the opponent has block and I do not. And if I turn over one of these players and these guys are free to do what they want without rolling dice, I lose my entire control of this area. So the dwarf player is now frantically trying to get to the other side of the field. All of a sudden the momentum has shifted back in my favor. But I am on the clock here. I feel like I'm playing on the clock. Because he has 11 players to my 8. And if I can't capitalize this on... If I cannot capitalize on this now, I'm very afraid that the game is just going to shift against me completely because he has that player advantage. He's been knocking me down. It's going to be very hard for me to make plays with so few people on the field. In fact, the dwarf player could easily leave a blitzer down here and just play with me 10 on 8 in the event that he ever gets a free ball to throw it in to win. That's it. Given that we're both slow, we'd be okay. Now, this. I think that was the roll. That he just double skulled against my black orc. And I'm pretty sure this is where he feels like he's straight thrown the game. He double skulled over there. I've got players tying this up. I can move up the field. But I can't move quite as far as he thinks I can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gets me to here. I'm in tackle zone there. He can reach me with everything. I think I'm trying to decide whether to go for it here. But even if I go for it, it's not making me safe from anything. But you'll see, these turnovers from the lack of rerolls are absolutely massive in this overtime play. And so I decided not to do go for it because across the board, I am taking the safest plays I can find. And you will see, I finally KO'd this Troll Slayer. I've been trying to hit him all game. So now all of a sudden it's 10 on 8. I'm feeling a little more comfortable here. A 3-player disadvantage is huge. A 2-player disadvantage when I have the ball is a very big deal. And you'll see I threw this wrestle guy up over here. Expecting actually that we might both be down. But downed blockers cannot move very far at all. So all of a sudden everybody who can get near this goblin is down. And I'm feeling a lot more confident about my ability to slow play and move up the field. But I did have a failed block down here, so my black orc is down. It means he's got a lot of free players here, and he can actually throw a 2-die block on my troll. I believe one of his blockers, yeah, he's got strength 4 blocker here. And these 2 players are just stuck. I can't get them out and make them useful. So I'm stuck playing with 1, 2, 3. I've got a 4-1-4 here, but he can move more players in. I'm definitely kind of concerned about this whole situation. Let's speed it up a bit till we see what he tries to decide to do. Alright, so we got a blitz declared. He does dodge out and hit my goblin. And smack him back. So all of a sudden I look from being in a very good field position to that one dodge putting me in trouble. Because this goblin has got the ball and he is stuck. Slow this down a bit again. But you'll see, the black orc, both black orcs who I want to get into this play, really are tied up. Both of these players are down, which I really don't like. And wow. So all of a sudden I have 2 players standing against 4 in this area. 5, 6. And it looks a lot more likely that I'm about to lose the ball and he is going to swing this right at me. I'm very concerned about the possibility of losing the game here. Especially because I have no presence downfield here. If he gets the ball, he's going to be able to fight his way through. So I'm looking for getting the block advantage, getting more players available here somehow. But I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 2 players standing at the start of this turn. And I'm surrounded. Now I definitely want to stand up this black orc, which gives me a better roll for the troll, who can then try to stand up. And I'm not throwing any blocks down here because I don't want to turn over. I definitely need my blitz in this corner somewhere. So I'm just going to take my stand-ups that don't have any threat of turning me over first. And the troll did not stupid, so I've actually got all 4 players back. And this is actually in my favor, these blocks. These not so much. Trying to decide if I need this black... Oh no, the black orc got stunned, so I can't even use him this turn. Oh no, wait, he's okay. So I could stand him up. And then what? I'm considering blitzing with the lineman. I'm considering blitzing with the goblin. Because the goblin could try to blitz and run up, but he's strength 2. He's just got bad dice. So at this point, oh, these players were both stunned. I couldn't stand up either one. So with Stunty, I actually tried. I got a 3+ reroll for dodge, 3+ reroll for dodge. Sorry, 4+. No, 3+ for all of them. 3+, 3+, 3+ to get over here to try to pick up the ball. Because if I could run him out, I'd still be in a very good scoring position. At this point, I'm feeling like the game is over. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dwarves in this area. I've got 3 down players. But the sure hands pickup failed, and all of a sudden I have got a prayer again. Now you'll notice we're up to 28 turns left in the game now because we finished our next 4. It added another 4 to the turn. So I'm going to stand up my players where I need them. I really, really want to get somebody else near this ball. I don't think I'm going to pick up the ball. I really don't. But I want to make it hard for him to do it. I think I actually decided to dodge my goblin out. Instead of if I stand him, he's just going to get hit. If I dodge him over here, he's going to have to blitz to get that tackle zone off the ball. And if I can get another turnover on him trying to pick up the ball, I'm in a beautiful position. So I'm pretty sure I actually dodge him out and move him around. It's a 3+ dodge with a reroll because he does have dodge, which I think is an 83% chance or something. So I'm fairly comfortable moving him here. Getting a tackle zone on the ball, making it harder for him to make plays down here. I'm pretty much all in with this goblin, hoping that somehow he's going to do something miraculous and let me pull ahead. I think at this point I have a Black Orc here who can throw a block. I was trying to decide whether to try to free up the lineman or hit the Troll Slayer. I decided on the Troll Slayer because the Troll Slayer has lower armor, and maybe I can free up this Black Orc to do something later on. I'm going to take my dice, my blocks over here. Again, because I have them, and if I manage to knock out a player, I get 1 more player free who can come join the play. Otherwise, I'm stuck with who I have. I don't know who I roll first here. The Troll? Speed this up a bit. And foolishly, I followed up, which is a mistake as far as I'm concerned, because now this Troll can't do anything. He's gonna really stupid unless I give him an assist. So he's just gonna stand there and supply tackle zones. So he did end up blitzing my goblin, smacked him, got him out of the way, and his runner is free to pick up the ball and try to move it somewhere. But he's gonna throw some blocks. Double blocking against my wrestle guy, and move the runner up. Now you'll see he catch failed. So the ball is again on the ground. It is closer to my side. Yeah, and I mentioned this before. This game is extremely back and forth when we hit overtime. But he has got a lot of dwarves in this area. I don't know how I'm going to get a player advantage somewhere around here. Again, I feel like he's got a serious advantage. But I do have a Black Orc down the field now. So I can try to move him. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm considering going for it 5 to get a tackle zone on the ball and to really muck this up. But if I fail that go for it, there's nobody here and he's got a free run to the win. So I think I decide instead just to put some tackle zones in the area. I think I really want to hit the blitzer. I really want to do a 1-die block here to free this Black Orc and try to get him involved in the play. But I don't. Instead, I'm just going to get these guys in here as much as possible to make it hard for him to pick up the ball. So I actually do have a 2-die block on here. Oh no, I have a single dice block on the runner. But I push him. He's in danger of being surfed. I have a tackle zone on the ball, and he's going to... I'm forcing him to throw some blocks here. Fortunately, I've got no tackle zones in this area. Oh, and here we go. I got a dice roll, which is beautiful. I just took out the other Troll Slayer. So now he is, 9 players to my 8. So I'm looking a lot better suddenly. I'm starting to think maybe I can actually play a longer game. Especially because I have all of my Strength 4 players on the field. I have some guard on the field. He's going to be throwing some blocks that are no longer in his favor, especially because both of his Dauntless players are gone. And if I can get those turnovers, then I've got a shot here. Now, that said, he does have block, and the only players on my team that have block are the blitzers, and 3 of them are in the pit here. So he does have the advantage where every player has block, but I'm hoping my strength advantage, rolling more dice, is going to help me carry through here. His blitzer's up. He's moving him down the field because he's thinking if his runner can pick up the ball, he's got a great pass down here. But he single-skulled his dice roll here, and all of a sudden I've got a play on the ball. This lack of rerolls has made this game so volatile. Now I definitely want to move my Black Orc up to get another tackle zone on this ball before I do anything. My lineman definitely wants to surf this runner out of the game. And if I do that with the blitz, I could even use the lineman to pick up the ball after. But before I do any of these risky plays, I'm trying to figure out who needs to be somewhere else. And I think that's about everybody. So I think I'm actually going to, I'm going to move the Black Orc up, because if I drop the ball, I want a better chance that somebody around here can maybe pick it up. And I'm going to surf the runner. Off the pitch, I believe. There we go. And all of a sudden, this game is 8 on 8. And I'm pretty feeling comfortable. I managed to pick up the ball. And I have movement left to move up the field. Now maybe you'll tell me what the better decision is here. I considered bringing him back and hiding him between my 2 Black Orcs, one of which has guard. I could bring him back here. The problem is this blitzer down the field can come up and hit me, whatever I do. So I think I decide ultimately the safest thing is to run him up the field. He's going to be open to blocks, but I want the ball this way. The further the ball is in his half, the more time I have to engineer a solution. And as you'll see, I'm no longer at a player advantage, so I'm not quite as worried. Also, all these players are tied up. He's going to have to throw some blocks or get some really cool dodges if he wants to make a play on my lineman. I'm unsure whether or not I want to throw a block with this Black Orc, because if he goes down, all of a sudden this blocker is free to blitz me, so I think I just leave him. And I move this player all the way around here so that my troll can actually activate. A little silly, but it actually gives me more tackle zones and more players near the play. This blocker actually might have been better moving up through here to try to get involved. But we'll see what happens there. I think this blitzer now is forced to come back because if he does not get the ball, this game is over. And the blitzer can move 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he actually has to go for it. And this is where the game looks like it might be over. Now the double skull roll that let me make a play on the ball was a huge thing to turning it. And all of a sudden this blitzer who had to dodge out of the goblin to hit my lineman failed. My lineman can now move way up the field. Now this doesn't mean the game is over. Blitzer can stand for 3, 4, 5. Go for it 6. So go for it 7. So this blitzer could double go for it and blitz me, or single go for it and put a tackle zone on my lineman. So I'm trying to get as much crap in the way of that blitzer as possible. You'll notice it's turn 28. And I cannot score this turn, so the turn limit is going to go up to 32. And I'm considering that. I don't know how many turns I want to give the Dwarves to try to come back if I do score. But I definitely don't want to jeopardize this goal to try to get myself in the win. And so I've done everything that I wanted to over here. I'm just throwing my blocks with what I've got in the back here. I might as well take what I have, get as much play advantage for the next turn if I can. And a lot of these don't matter. For example, this Black Orc can throw that block very safely. I don't have to worry about this blocker influencing the play. This blocker can't really influence the play either. So I'm pretty happy rolling a couple blocks back here and feeling kind of safe about it. I don't know if I throw this one. I'm worried if I fail it, then all of a sudden he can take a 2-dice block on this Black Orc and get the blitzer up the field. But I do end up taking it, and it did work out in my favor. So I push him wide. I actually stunned him, so now all of a sudden I've got a really marked player advantage. The Dwarf player can make some plays on the ball, but not many. And I'm really, at this point, hoping that I can stall for a couple turns, make it harder for the Dwarf player to score on me. Unfortunately, he dodges out, hits my goblin, and gets up in my business. So all of a sudden this isn't actually a sure thing goal. I'm in a tackle zone, I've got a blitzer on me, and I need to find a way to do this. So I can blitz with the lineman. It's a 2-dice block, but I have wrestle. And unfortunately I did turn off the choice, so I could down myself. Instead I decided to blitz with the black orc. And I failed. I sculled it. I was in a good position before that dice roll, but my 2-die block with double skulls, or with, sorry, both down, and all of a sudden, he's in a good position here. He's got a block that he can throw here. He can try to get somebody else up the field. He has a couple plays that he can make. And I'm quite concerned what he's going to do. Now, best case scenario, I think, he could stand this player, blitz here for 1, go 2, 3, 4, maybe go for it 5, and then he could have given himself better dice. Unfortunately, he just took the push on me there, and he's going to get players up the field. This actually turned out extremely well for him, I think. I was really afraid of this situation, because now my lineman is stuck with 2 tackle zones on him. The potential of being surfed. So even though I've got the ball in his end zone, I am threatening the touchdown for the win. I am very afraid that he's going to surf me, take the player advantage, and slowly bring it up the field. I still feel this is very much anybody's game at this point. So I'm going to take the block that I can to make myself a little safer. Now if I dodge up this way, I'm okay. But my goblin actually blocked successfully on the offense with 2 assists, and my lineman is free to run it in. I'm trying to decide if I want to wait some turns. I could throw him to here, just short of the touchdown, but there was too much opportunity to potentially deny me. I'd rather try to defend for 3 turns than stall out and risk the win. Now you'll see, he did get one of his players back. I got 1 back. Out of these guys, they refused to stand up. Now it was a good player, but I believe he's back up to 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 players up, and I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So he does have a 1-player advantage on me. I do have 13 players on the team, because I bought the Goblin just in case I needed the 1-turn touchdowns. And the Goblin has actually proved to be extremely useful on the offense, partly because he's never been down. And he got a really good foul in as well, so actually he's been doing okay. I was very happy with this kickoff, giving me a chance to get some players back on the pitch, make this a little more even. But I'm not really sure what the best way to defend this is. And you'll see just how I decide to go with it. I'm going to go deal with this bird. I'll be just 1 moment.
There was a time when the colleges of magic hadn't yet ruled on limiting wizard assistance to teams.
Who could forget the infamous 2472 Quagmire incident, when rampant spellcasting caused the entire Bright Crusaders Stadium to sink into the earth?
Nobody could forget that. People were blinded for miles around the stadium.
Oh. Okay, let's speed this up, because you don't need to watch the setup and see what happens. Now I'm going to kick it dead center, because if he gets to hand the ball where he wants, I am in trouble. And we got a brilliant coaching roll. And before this game, I bought a coach because I had money around, and I'm like, why not? And that coach I bought actually let me win. And all of a sudden, I have a reroll to help me defend this, and he has nothing. So I am extremely happy with that dice roll. That coach for 10k actually can come into play here and help me defend this. So you'll see, he's moving up. He is locking up everybody. And the only thing I am concerned about is making sure that at the end of his next turn, nobody can reach the end zone. Now that turnover on the pass is actually a very big deal. I think he was going to bring it to this blitzer, and the blitzer who had not yet activated could have tried to move up the field or to blitz through. So this just got a lot easier to defend. I'm debating leaving some players back to make a play on whoever comes down, or whether I should be locking up everybody to make it as hard as I can for him to get through this front line. And I think I end up doing a combination of both. So I hit this blitzer. I moved the thrower around, and I actually used my reroll here. So I've actually burned my reroll on that hit. But I have players down, I have tackle zones in the area. He's down here to make it harder for them to go through on their turn in case that's open. Practically, I think I probably should have left the goblin back here because there's a lot of danger in this corner of the field. But all the fast players, the blitzer, runner, and the guy in the back. So the two runners and the blitzers are over here, which is why I wanted the goblin on this side of the field. The blocker couldn't make it to the end zone even if he tried. So now I'm selfishly hoping that he fails to pick up the ball again. But I'm really looking to see where he's going to open his lane and where he's going to try to run the ball. Now, I think this is actually an excellent play. The double shot here, and he doesn't KO me at all, means that this runner can move down the field. I feel like if he had followed up with the blitzer, a space, he actually could have moved this runner further downfield. Oh no, it's the same. No, he could have. Because he could have moved to here and been one square further downfield instead of having to go around his blitzer to avoid dodges. But I'm pretty sure the runner runs through here to get into my backfield and cause me a lot of trouble. Oh, he actually dodged through. Wow. That's a risky play when you're playing for the win here. But you'll see now. Oh, he did KO my Black Orc. I finally decided to use my Apothecary just because in the event that this game keeps going, I want the Black Orc in. I don't think there's going to be a lot more turns left, so I am willing to throw the KO at this point. Now my concern is the runner. Can move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go for it, go for it. So he could at this point double go for it for the win. And pretty much most of my players that can cause him trouble are tied up. So before doing anything, I'm going to stand up players and I'm going to see what I can do about this situation. Because I do not want to turn over on something foolish before this happens. I could move the blitzer here, then hit with the goblin. It would be even dice, which I don't like. But it would let me try to push the guy one square up so that he's out of range of the touchdown. If I did that though and failed, he had a free run to the end zone. So I'm going to tie up some players, and I've decided to go with a 2-die block from the blitzer. If I get a stumbled or a down, then he cannot score. If I get a push or something, he's going to have to dodge and blitz and do some really funky stuff to get out of here. And so you'll see I actually landed the defender stumbles, and so the ball is on the ground. He is no one that can reach the end zone, and I have managed to keep myself at a 2-1 victory. And I do believe that's the game. On his turn, he decides to just hit end because there is nothing that he can do at that point. And so I have actually managed to move into the finals. I will be facing either the Wood Elves or the Norse, depending on the outcome of that game. Just a little icing on the cake. I actually rolled the MVP on my troll, so I finally get to level him up. And I can get him either guard or block, depending on what he rolls. So, thanks to anyone who wanted to drop by and see this. Good luck to both my Norse and Wood Elf potential opponents in their next game. Hopefully half your team dies and I'm sitting in a good position. But we'll see just how that goes. And thanks for joining me, guys. We'll catch you guys in the playoffs.